Hello and welcome back to Green Country Custom Baits. Hi, my name is Jeff. Today's tutorial we're going to be painting 6 Little John MDs for a customer out of Kentucky. We're going to leave it as a clear body and you'll see why that's important when doing the real skill pattern. So stay tuned. Techniques involved in the real scale pattern is making sure that you leave the body clear. That really makes these scales stand out. We're going to be using hoops with a just a bath scrubbers, what I call them, and we got it real tight in there. We're going to be using several of those in order to do these 6 baits. This little pack of magnets to keep that mesh tight against them. So stay tuned, and if you're interested and you like this video, please hit the like button. And if this is the first time you visited the channel, then consider going back. I'll leave a link in the description where you can look at the complete online tutorial where I start with the very basics of what you need in order to get started in lure art. You want to make sure that you pick a place on your deal where your scales are going to line up with the body. Okay, and then again go in the same direction, and as you use this mesh, occasionally you'll get holes in it, things like that, but get your scales how you want them. I use these large clips to secure the 2 hoops together, just like so, and you want to clip them top and bottom. The reason why is when we start spraying these paints at an angle, you want to be able to get at the front and the rear of the bait in relationship to how you've got it in here. Okay, so the next thing is you take you a couple of magnets. Sometimes the paint sticks the magnets together, and clip it close as you can to the bait, but still yet where you can access the bottom and top of that bait. Okay. So no base coat when we're doing this particular method. At this point, we're going to just go. So that's it. Okay, so we got the mesh in there really tight and secure. It's going to hold that down against the bait, and that's vital to creating this 3D scaling effect. Okay, so won't bore you with getting all 6 of these into hoops, but that's the procedure. So next up, we'll have airbrushes loaded, and we'll start with the base coat paint. Okay, just want to give you a rundown first on the paints that we're going to use for this particular pattern. Our base coat that we're going to shoot through the mesh is going to be just wicked white. We've got an airbrush already loaded. Then we're going to come back over. We're going to let that dry, and we're going to do a distance heat shoot through that mesh so we don't melt it. Then we're going to come back with a little pearl white. Then we're going to use a medium gray to do our back, our face, and some light stripes. We'll top the back of that and around the eye with wicked black. Then we're going to angle shoot Molly blue and candy magenta. Okay, real light. These 2 colors are real light just to give us a little bit of a scale effect. And so that's the color rundown. Next up, we got our baits ready to go, and we won't bore you through all 6 of these, but this is the procedure that you'll want to use for each bait that you do. Best way to learn is just to go one at a time, especially when you start working on the angles. So we'll finish this other one up here, and we'll come back and show you how we're going to do our medium gray back, stripes, and face. Okay, so we've allowed the white to get a good dry on it. We're going to come back over it with some wicked pearl white. Just need a light coat. This stuff is really thin. We've reduced the pressure down to 20 so that we don't get runs with this particular paint being quite a bit thinner than, you know, your wicked opaque white. So again, just shooting it straight onto the bait, just a nice coat just to give it that little sheen, that shine that most of our bait fish have. So I'm going to show you how I heat set these two whites that I've put on without melting my scale mesh. Okay, again, using the just a cheap Harbor Freight heat gun. Being that I use a heat gun, these things can be very hot. So what I do is I set back. I'm going to feel how warm it is, turn the heat gun on, and back the gun up till I can feel the right heat. Just a little heat. If you're using a hair dryer, you could get much closer, but that'll just give it a good heat set. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do the same procedure to keep from melting or stretching that mesh. We don't want that mesh to get too warm. And that's the heat set procedure. Okay, so our next color is going to be our Molly blue. Okay, and we're gonna shoot this from the back, and I just want a little light blue up in the upper portion of the shoulder area, and so that's what we're going to shoot next. And again, hold the bait upside down, push the scale firmly against it. And I don't know if I can get this all in the camera angle here, but we're just going to make one pass right down the shoulder of that bait. Check your spray pattern, 20 pounds pressure, Molly blue. Just a little light blue there. We'll turn around and do the other side. And again, very difficult to see if you've done it, got the proper effect through the scale, because the paint just collects at the front of that next mesh. Okay, so, but you've got it. If you've went down it, you see paint against your mesh, you know you've got the proper effect. Just trust it. Okay, we'll go ahead and do one more on camera. Again, low angle, right across the top of that bait. Flip it, same thing. All right, we'll come back when we hit the magenta, candy magenta. Candy magenta, okay? And what I failed to do, even on the Molly, I put a little 411 reducer in it. I want this paint to be really light, pretty transparent, and so this reducer helps even reduce the transparency of that paint even more than it is. So again, same procedure, but this time we're going to shoot the magenta from the opposite direction as we shot the blue. Again, checking paint spray. It's a little high on pressure. Going to back that down. All it took was 2 or 3 drops of magenta and about the equal amount of the reducer, okay, to get it where we want it. And again, we're going right back over and maybe slightly below the blue. Okay, so just start a little air, just real light. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but it's just a super light coat, shooting again in the opposite direction. Okay, we'll do it one more time so that you can see the procedure. Again, right down the top of that in the opposite direction. Flip it. And there we go. most of your thread fin have some blue hues and the magenta hues. So next up, we'll remove the baits from the mesh, and we'll start putting some more details in with the blacks. And this particular pattern, maybe a little touch up with white and pearls, and we'll be finished. Okay, so I'm going to give you a shot of how I remove this. Again, I've let this paint dry with a little heat set, and let it set for a few minutes to ensure that everything's perfectly dry. If we're using mini auto air colors, it's going to dry a little quicker, but all I do is first remove the top magnet. It's kind of hard to do with the camera, and then gently remove the bottom magnet. Okay, then our big binder clips. If the paint's dry, you know, and you're sure it's dry, see, you can tell that bait has dried on because it's stuck a little bit. So there you are. This is what your body's going to look like. And let's take a look at one more. Get that camera good. Separate. And this is where you get 3D effect. Once you come up at the top, because of the transparency of the bait underneath and the angles that you shoot, it leaves a little white behind. Now again, a lot of this is brought out, especially these secondary colors, the blues and the magenta, once the clear coat hits. But you can tell we need to come back over the back and the belly with a little more white and a little more pearl. Of course, the back's going to go black, so with a little more medium gray, and we'll show that to you right now. So being that I have airbrushes, 4 airbrushes, I've already got the white. I turn my pressure back up, hit the bottom of that bait, wipe out some of those scales underneath. Okay, just like so. I may do a thin line. With the white base. Don't want to get any overspray down the side of this bait, so you got to be really solid with your trigger pull. Okay, but that just touches it up. And then again, a good solid heat set on everything, real quick, and we're ready for black. Okay, we're ready to shoot a little more gray over the top. Just a light coat around the face and eyes, knock some of those scales out. You want to kind of cover that up. Tail, leave your shoulders alone. Just like that. The airbrush up with some jet black. Always test your spray, and we're going to come back and we're just going to do a light, get where you can see this, spray, but right down the back, okay, just like that, and a little around those eyes. We want those eyes to really pop, okay. One more for the camera. Again, we'll fade down the back. And nose. Okay. Okay, just shot the clear coat. I wanted to give you a kind of an update of the finished bait before it dries and before the hooks. And the camera's focusing up there. That's the real scale thread fin pattern by Green Country Custom Baits. So Appreciate you guys stopping in to check out my YouTube channel. Please consider subscribing. We're doing several videos at least once a week. Again, just real scale thread fin pattern. Appreciate you for stopping in, and we'll catch you on the next video.